Have you ever felt that the world around you is maybe a reflection of your inner state,
Hmm.
and then wished you had a clear, like an actionable roadmap to truly transform both? It's a powerful thought, isn't it? Almost radical. That our internal landscape could dictate so much of what we perceive, what we experience out there.
It really is. And well, today we're embarking on a deep dive into a spiritual curriculum that proposes exactly that. A systematic, pretty radical shift in how we perceive reality, ourselves, and, ultimately our deepest purpose.
Right. We're talking about a Course in Miracles, often called AMO.
That's the one. And it's not just another spiritual book, it's really a comprehensive self-study system. It's got 3 distinct parts.
Okay.
There's a foundational text, which lays out the theory, the philosophy. Then there's a workbook for students, 365 daily lessons, really practical, hands-on stuff.
A whole year's worth.
Yep. And finally, a manual for teachers, offering guidance for those who feel called to really embody and share its message.
So our mission today, then, is to really unpack the central teachings of ACIM, explore what this transformative material is truly about.
Exactly. We're going deep.
We're going to dive into its core philosophy, look at the practical exercises it suggests, and ultimately try to understand its profound promise of peace. For any learner out there seeking deeper spiritual understanding, maybe self-discovery, or just a genuine path to lasting happiness, I think the insights we'll uncover could be truly game-changing.
Absolutely.
We're trying to go beyond just summaries, looking at why these universal principles, things like oneness, radical forgiveness, unconditional love, why they might resonate so deeply with anyone looking to understand their divine identity and purpose in this, let's face it, often complex world.
And it's an intellectual journey for sure, but maybe even more importantly, it's really an experiential one. It kicks off with a fundamental reevaluation of how we understand our own minds and, well, the very nature of the world we think we see.
Okay, let's unpack this then, starting with the foundation, which ACIM introduces as this really radical shift in perception. And this is where it gets incredibly interesting right off the bat. Because the Course posits that there are fundamentally only 2 thought systems in existence, just 2. And you, the individual, are constantly demonstrating your belief in one or the other as true.
All the time.
It's not just a passive philosophical stance, is it? It's active, moment-to-moment experience influencing literally everything.
That's absolutely right. The Course doesn't really mince words here. It states quite directly, to teach is to demonstrate.
Okay.
So it's not just about, intellectualizing these concepts or agreeing with them in theory. It's about embodying them, living them.
How you act, react.
Exactly. Our actions, our reactions, the way we relate to others, our very being in the world, they all become this living testament to what we truly believe deep down. The Course goes on to say, from your demonstration, others learn, and so do you.
So it's reciprocal.
Totally. It implies this continuous reciprocal process. You learn by teaching, and you teach by learning through that very demonstration. Every interaction, every relationship, every choice we make is, in essence, a lesson we are offering to the world, and simultaneously a lesson we're offering to ourselves.
So if I'm following you, the purpose of the Course isn't simply to fill our heads with new information. It's more like offering a practical, experiential means for choosing what we want to teach based on what we genuinely want to learn and experience.
You got it.
It's like an active redirection of our internal compass, a conscious alignment. And the Course makes this rather profound claim. You cannot give to someone else but only to yourself, and this you learn through teaching. That really highlights the interconnectedness, doesn't it?
Right.
What we extend, what we project, what we truly give, we're simultaneously receiving and reinforcing within ourselves.
Precisely. So this teaching isn't necessarily about, standing up and lecturing or even conscious instruction in the usual sense.
Right.
It's about the underlying belief system we are demonstrating. If your inner narrative is all about scarcity, judgment, separation, well, that's what you're projecting, and therefore that's what you're experiencing in teaching.
And the flip side.
Conversely, if you align with abundance, love, unity, that becomes your demonstration. It's a kind of conversion, not by force or argument, but just by the quiet, undeniable invitation of your demonstrated state of mind.
Wow.
And this isn't just for, a few spiritual gurus. ACIM describes itself as a universal course. It says God's teachers work at different levels, but the result is always the same.
And that result is?
Salvation and atonement, implying this unified goal for all of us, despite the very different individual paths we might take to get there.
That's a really profound shift in perspective. It basically reframes every single daily interaction, even the mundane ones, as a powerful teaching moment.
Yeah.
It invites a conscious choice about the beliefs we project and embody. For anyone listening, just imagine for a moment, how might this understanding transform your approach to relationships, to personal growth? Knowing that you are always, in every single moment, demonstrating a belief, what would you choose to demonstrate? What kind of inner classroom would you want to create for yourself and, by extension, for others?
It truly turns every challenge, every difficult moment into an opportunity to demonstrate a different way of seeing things, a different possibility.
And speaking of challenging perspectives, let's pivot to one of ACIM's most radical claims. This is in our next point. The world as an illusion, our mind-made reality. Now, this can be a really tough pill to swallow for a lot of people.
It really can be.
Workbook Lesson 12 states it bluntly. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. All these attributes are given it by you. The world is meaningless in itself. So this means the frightening, sad, violent, or chaotic world we perceive isn't inherently that way. It's fundamentally a projection, like a mirror, reflecting our own inner thoughts and beliefs.
It's a direct, really uncompromising challenge to our habitual way of seeing reality. I mean, we've been conditioned our whole lives to believe that external events, the news, other people's actions, our circumstances, are the cause of how we feel inside.
Right. A causes B.
Yeah. ACIM fundamentally reverses that. It suggests our internal state, our thoughts, are the primary creators of the meaning we then project onto the world. We perceive the world through this selective, often distorted lens of what the Course calls ego goals or personal interests.
Okay, the ego goals.
And the Course is very clear. These goals are concerned with nothing because ultimately the ego is not you.
Ah, the false identification.
Exactly. This false identification with the ego, this self-concept built on separation, specialness, fear, it leads us to fundamentally misunderstand and misuse everything we encounter. Relationships, resources, everything. The meaninglessness isn't some depressing void. It's more like an empty screen onto which we project our own internal dramas.
So our experience of suffering, loss, even death, these aren't objective, unavoidable realities in this view. They're more like the representation of my insane thoughts, obscuring what the Course calls our real thoughts.
That's the idea. It's incredibly powerful.
If our thoughts are the images we have made, then changing those thoughts becomes the direct path to changing our perception of reality and therefore our experience of it.
Right. Change the thought, change the picture.
The text goes even further, suggesting a really provocative origin for this perceived world. The world was made as an attack on God. It symbolizes fear. Can you unpack that a bit? How is the world seen as an attack? That sounds pretty intense.
It does sound intense, and it's metaphorical, but it's a crucial point. The attack isn't like a physical act, it's a mental one.
Okay, think of it this way. If God is perfect oneness, pure love, total wholeness, then the very idea of separation of individual forms of a fragmented universe is a conceptual attack on that fundamental oneness.
So the belief in separation itself is the attack.
Yes. The world, in this context, is the result of our mind choosing to believe in separation from God. It's like a defense mechanism, a collective dream born from the fear that maybe we actually succeeded in separating ourselves from our source.
And that fear.
That fear, the Course emphasizes, is simply love's absence. It's the void created by the belief in separation from God and from our true unified self. So the world we see, the one filled with conflict and limitation, is merely the physical manifestation, the outward picture of that deeply ingrained but ultimately false belief in separation and fear.
And in this framework, even something as seemingly final and undeniable as death, that's also presented as an illusion.
Yes, that's another really radical part. The Course states that death cannot be escaped because it is not life in which the problem lies. Life has no opposite, for it is God. So death is viewed as merely sleeping, and when the mind awakes, it but continues as it always was.
That's a radical redefinition, isn't it? It suggests death isn't the problem to be solved, but an illusion to be seen through.
So life in the Course means?
Life means that state of being perfectly united with God, eternal, changeless being. Therefore, anything that appears to end or change, like the physical body, simply isn't what the Course considers life at all.
It's part of the dream.
Exactly. It's part of the illusion of separation. So from ACIM's perspective, death isn't a genuine transition from existence to non-existence. It's more like waking up from a really vivid dream and realizing, oh, that wasn't real to begin with. The problem of death, then, lies in our perception of it as an ending rather than in life itself. When the mind genuinely chooses to perceive reality through the lens of truth and love, through forgiveness, the illusion of death simply ceases to have meaning or power over us.
This sounds incredibly challenging to really internalize, I have to say, but also profoundly liberating if you could actually live from that space.
It is both, definitely.
So if our perceptions are the source of our distress, how do we even begin to shift such deeply ingrained patterns? You mentioned the workbook.
Yes, the course offers very practical applications through the workbook exercises. For instance, applying the idea, I do not see this as it is now, you just fill in the blank with whatever you're looking at.
Like, I do not see this microphone as it is now.
Exactly. I do not see this microphone as it is now. I do not see this desk as it is now. I do not see this hand as it is now. The idea is to move from near objects to further ones, systematically. I do not see that bookshelf as it is now. I do not see that window as it is now. I do not see that person as it is now.
It sounds simple, but what's the goal?
Well, they aren't just mental gymnastics. They're designed to help us actively realize that our current perception isn't the final truth. It's an interpretation.
An interpretation colored by our egoic thought system.
Precisely. This systematic practice fosters a state of what the Course calls nothingness, or maybe a blank slate. It's presented as a necessary prerequisite for vision, for seeing things as they truly are, beyond the veil of our projections and judgments.
And this is key, isn't it? For anyone listening, if you truly believed that your perception shapes your reality, and that you actually possess the power to change that perception, imagine how profoundly different your daily experience would be.
Completely different.
It isn't just about positive thinking, is it? It sounds more like undoing the thought system that generates the distress in the first place.
That's a great way to put it. It's undoing. It offers this potent internal tool for overcoming fear, for finding inner peace, even when things outside look chaotic, because the perceived source of the turmoil is understood to be internal.
And therefore entirely modifiable by a shift in mind.
Exactly. It's a profound invitation to reclaim agency over your experience. You're not just a victim of circumstance.
We're not passive victims of the world, but active creators of our experience of it.
Right.
Okay. That leads us perfectly into our next major section, our true identity and divine function.
Right.
Because if the world is ultimately an illusion, then the next crucial question has to be, who is this we that's doing the perceiving? What is our true nature, if not this ego we've mistakenly identified with?
And that brings us beautifully to the Course's profound revelation about who we really are and what we're really here to do.
Okay, where do we start?
This section really reveals what ACIM considers our fundamental reality, moving beyond the ego's false self-concept. Let's start with 2.1, the Son of God and inherent holiness.
Right.
Workbook Lesson 43 makes this bold, incredibly empowering declaration. You are indeed the light of the world, a function given you by God.
The light of the world.
Yeah. And it's crucial to clarify here, when ACIM refers to the Son of God, it's using a metaphorical term. It refers to our universal, shared spiritual identity, our true self.
Not tied to gender or religion specifically.
Not at all. It's that part of us which is perfectly created by and united with God beyond individual form. It points to our inherent divinity, our wholeness, our Christ identity, you could say.
Okay. And our holiness, then.
Our holiness, according to the Course, isn't something we earn through good deeds or strive for through, arduous effort or rituals.
It's not achieved.
No, it is an inherent, unchangeable state. It's described as a power of God that is totally unlimited. It's just what we are.
That's a significant departure from many traditional views, where holiness is often seen as something you achieve, something earned through purification or following specific laws. Here, it's innate, a birthright.
Exactly, and the implications are truly staggering. It states, your holiness reverses all the laws of the world. It is beyond every restriction of time, space, distance, and limits of any kind.
Wow.
So this inherent holiness, it establishes you as a son of God at one with the mind of his creator. If we are truly one with our creator, if our holiness is genuinely unlimited, well, how can we possibly be limited by anything the world seems to present?
That's the logical conclusion, isn't it?
It is. And this inherent holiness isn't just a nice concept. It's presented as a profound and active ability. The Course promises that this inherent power can remove all pain, can end all sorrow, and can solve all problems.
All problems.
All problems. It emphasizes that it's equal in its power to help anyone because it is equal in its power to save anyone. This suggests a universal effectiveness, regardless of how complex a problem looks on the surface. It's a core power available to all, for all.
And the foundation of this.
A cornerstone of ACIM's entire message is this assurance. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. This is fundamental. Our true core nature remains untarnished, spotless, whole, regardless of what illusions or mistaken beliefs we might temporarily hold about ourselves.
For anyone listening, that concept could be incredibly empowering. Shifting your identity from, a frail, fallible, self-prone to error and guilt to seeing yourself as an eternal, powerful, and beloved Son of God.
It changes everything.
How might embracing your inherent holiness, rather than constantly striving for an earned one, change your self-perception, your interactions with the world? If you truly believed your sinlessness was guaranteed by God, imagine the freedom from guilt, shame, self-condemnation.
It really would fundamentally alter how you see yourself, how you interact with others, how you interpret everything life throws at you. It just removes the entire basis for self-judgment.
Which is huge.
It absolutely is. And this leads us right into 2.2. God as our source and strength, building directly on this idea of inherent holiness and unity.
Yeah.
Workbook lesson 43 further emphasizes, God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. This means our perception, our true perception, is inherently meant to be linked with God, guided by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit acts as the mediator between perception and knowledge. It's the voice for God within us, guiding our perception back towards truth, correcting our misinterpretations of reality. It's the mechanism through which we remember our true source.
So it's not just that God created us in the past, but that we are perpetually, eternally connected to that source right now. And that connection informs our very ability to perceive truly.
Yes. The Course states, God is my source of life, holding you one with it, and everything is one with you because it left you not.
It left you not.
Exactly. It reinforces this unbreakable, continuous connection to our divine origin. It implies that any experience of separation is solely a perception, a momentary dream, not the actual reality of our being.
And with this eternal connection comes
an unfailing source of strength.
Yeah.
And boundless gifts. The Course affirms God is indeed your strength, and what he gives is truly given. This strength isn't remote or conditional or dependent on external circumstances.
It probably is there.
It's always accessible, anytime and anywhere, wherever you are and in whatever circumstance you find yourself. The Course doesn't just state this as a fact. It encourages us to actively lean into it. Put all your faith in the love of God within you, eternal, changeless, and forever unfailing. This is the answer to whatever confronts you today.
That sounds incredibly comforting.
For anyone seeking unwavering support or a deep sense of belonging, or maybe just relief from the constant striving the world demands, recognizing God as this ever-present, unfailing source of strength and love can offer immense comfort, real confidence.
What concerns might just melt away if you truly trusted in this internal divine strength, instead of relying only on your own limited resources?
It allows us to relinquish that immense burden of trying to figure everything out and solve everything ourselves.
That is certainly a comforting thought, especially when you're facing life's uncertainties, the weight of personal responsibility. But for someone maybe deeply entrenched in the belief that they must do it all themselves, or maybe for those who felt abandoned or let down in the past, how does the Course gently guide them towards truly trusting this unfailing source within? It feels like a potentially massive leap for many people.
That's a really crucial question, actually, because the ego, our false self, it thrives on that idea of independent effort, self-reliance, which often just masks the deep-seated fear of vulnerability of needing anything.
Right.
The Course doesn't ask us to suddenly drop all our defenses or just ignore our feelings of abandonment. That wouldn't work. Instead, it offers a curriculum. It's a gentle, step-by-step undoing of the thought system that created those feelings of isolation and inadequacy in the first place.
Through the lessons.
Exactly. The daily workbook lessons, for example, systematically retrain the mind. They help you question your old beliefs, gently open you to a new perspective. It's a process of re-experiencing situations, recognizing that the source of the perceived lack, the perceived abandonment, was never really outside you. It was always an internal misinterpretation. So by consistently practicing forgiveness, which we'll definitely get to, and shifting perception, the experience of God as an unfailing source naturally begins to emerge. It's less about forcing yourself to trust and more about systematically removing the blocks to the awareness of the trust that's already there underneath.
That makes so much more sense, a gentle dismantling rather than an abrupt command. Okay, this brings us directly to 2.3, the single function. happiness and salvation. The Course radically simplifies our perceived purpose in life, right? It cuts through all the competing worldly goals we chase after. Workbook Lesson 65 states, "My only function is the one God gave me. I have no function but the one God gave me."
And think about the implications of that.
Well, the Course explains that this recognition releases me from all conflict because it means I cannot have conflicting goals.
This is truly profound. It addresses the core of so much human indecision, stress, inner turmoil. If we genuinely have only one divine function, then all that internal conflict about what we should be doing, what we ought to strive for, what conflicting desires we need to somehow manage, it just dissolves.
It brings clarity.
Profound clarity. And what is this single divine function? The Course explains the logic beautifully. God gives you only happiness, therefore my function must be happiness.
Simple logic, but powerful.
If God is pure love and cannot give anything less than perfect goodness and joy, then anything less than happiness that we experience is, by definition, a misperception of his nature and a misinterpretation of our own function. Our purpose, then, must be happiness.
That's a compelling and deeply comforting argument. If God is pure love, everything he gives must be a gift of happiness. And if our purpose is aligned with him, then our purpose is inherently happiness. So the statement, "Salvation is my only function here," is directly linked to this.
Yes.
Because your function is to be happy by using the means by which happiness becomes inevitable. Choosing your divine function, therefore, is directly choosing happiness.
You got it.
It suggests salvation isn't some distant reward you get later or an escape from punishment, but an immediate, accessible state of happiness that you realize right now through aligning with your true purpose.
It's an elegant simplification. It cuts through all the worldly complexities and distractions. And Workbook Lesson 95 builds on this, asserting, "I am oneself, united with my Creator, at one with every aspect of creation, and limitless in power and in peace."
So our function,
Our purpose, our function, then, is to bring awareness of this oneness to all minds. That's the core of it. To realize this unity within ourselves, and then, through our demonstration, through our happiness, extend that awareness to all.
wow.
For anyone listening, just imagine simplifying your life's purpose down to a single divine function that actually guarantees happiness. How would that clarity eliminate confusion and doubt in your daily choices? How would it free you from the stress of competing desires, the constant pressure to figure it all out?
It shifts everything.
Completely, from external striving to internal alignment, from fragmented goals to a singular unifying purpose.
It's truly a radical reframe of human existence, from feeling lost in a fragmented world, pulled in a million directions, to remembering a single, joyous, unifying purpose. That clarity alone sounds like a path to immense peace.
And the first, and arguably the most central practice in ACIM is forgiveness. Let's look at 3.1, forgiveness, the final goal and its transformative power.
Okay, forgiveness. But ACIM's definition is quite different, isn't it?
Highly unique, profoundly different from conventional understandings. It goes way beyond pardoning sins. It states very clearly, forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred.
Has not occurred.
Has not occurred. It does not pardon sins and make them real. It sees there was no sin. This is a truly radical reinterpretation. Instead of making sin real, validating its existence, and then maybe magnanimously forgiving it.
Which is what we normally think of.
Right. The Course asks us to see the fundamental unreality of sin itself.
That's a massive distinction. And honestly, for many, probably where the Course gets a bit mind-bending.
Yeah.
It implies that what we perceive as wrongdoings, attacks, injustices, are actually just illusions or mistakes stemming from that fundamental misperception of separation we talked about earlier.
That's exactly it. So what is sin except a false idea about God's Son?
Okay.
Forgiveness merely sees its falsity and therefore lets it go. The core message here isn't that bad things don't appear to happen in the dream. It's that fundamentally God's Son is not guilty.
Our true self remains innocent.
Yes. This offers profound freedom from guilt, both for ourselves and for others, by denying the ultimate reality of guilt itself. It's an undoing of the very concept of sin as traditionally understood.
So sin in ACIM isn't like a violation of a moral law that needs punishment.
No, it's simply an error in perception, a mistaken belief that we are separate from God, separate from each other. When we forgive, in the Course's sense, we aren't condoning a wrongdoing. We're simply recognizing that the perceived wrongdoing was ultimately an illusion, a projection of the ego's fear and belief in separation.
And this leads to
An undeniable consequence, what the Course calls the law of perception. Condemn and you are made a prisoner. Forgive and you are freed. Such is the law that rules perception.
Forgive and you are freed.
It's critical because unforgiving thoughts, by making judgments that the Course says are not true, keep the mind closed. They reinforce the illusion of separation, perpetuate the cycle of suffering, keep us trapped.
Does it offer practical steps?
Very much so. The Course teaches us to practice forgiveness toward one whom you think of as an enemy and one whom you consider as a friend. The ultimate aim is that as you learn to see them both as one, recognizing the same light behind the different masks, the lesson extends to ourselves. We realize we are all interconnected parts of the one Son of God, equally innocent in reality.
So it's not just about forgiving others for what they seem to have done, but about forgiving ourselves for our misperception of their actions and recognizing our shared innocence beneath it all.
Beautifully put, yes.
The Course even makes the bold claim that the world's salvation awaits your forgiveness because through it, the Son of God escapes from all illusions. That's huge.
It really is.
This profound redefinition of forgiveness. It offers such a powerful release from guilt and blame, both towards others and ourselves. For you listening, could embracing this concept fundamentally change your relationships, your sense of inner peace? It feels like it offers this profound liberation by dismantling the very framework of judgment and blame that so often traps us.
It's designed to do precisely that. Forgiveness in ACIM is the actual mechanism through which we literally undo the ego's world and return to the awareness of our true self. It's the ultimate act of self-liberation.
And this naturally moves us to the next practice. 3.2, relinquishing judgment, the path to wisdom.
Yeah, they're deeply connected. The Course makes a very clear distinction between worldly judgment and true wisdom. It explicitly states, wisdom is not judgment. It is the relinquishment of judgment.
Simple but profound.
And this relinquishment is presented as the obvious prerequisite for hearing God's voice, for hearing the Holy Spirit.
This goes against so much of what the world teaches us, doesn't it? I mean, the world trains for reliance on one's judgment as the criterion for maturity and strength.
Absolutely. Be discerning, analyze, critique, form strong opinions.
Right. But ACIM, conversely, trains for the relinquishment of judgment as the necessary condition of salvation. It even acknowledges this process can feel personally insulting to the ego.
Oh, definitely. The ego prides itself on its ability to judge and evaluate. It interprets letting go of judgment as weakness or maybe naivete. It feels like a loss of control.
So why is relinquishing judgment so crucial?
Because it directly confronts the ego's perceived competence and its entire operating system. The ego believes it keeps us safe by judging, by distinguishing between good and bad, safe and dangerous. But from the Course's perspective, all judgment, regardless of its apparent content, positive or negative, reinforces the illusion of separation.
How so?
It creates categories, divisions, comparisons where, in truth, there is only unity. The Course invites us to make but one more judgment. And it's a paradoxical one.
Which is?
To recognize that there is someone with you whose judgment is perfect. He does know all the facts, past, present, and to come, and he is wholly fair to everyone.
And this someone is?
The Holy Spirit, God's voice within us, our internal perfect guide. It's about deferring to that higher perfect wisdom, allowing that guidance to inform our perception, rather than relying on our own limited, often fear-based, egoic interpretations.
That makes so much sense, especially when you consider how much mental energy we actually expend trying to be right, defending our judgments, constantly evaluating everything and everyone around us. It's exhausting.
It really is.
What if true strength and maturity lie not in our own critical judgment, but in the humility to defer to this higher perfect wisdom? This idea could alleviate the immense pressure of always having to be right, always having the answer. It opens us up to guidance far beyond our limited, often fear-based perception.
It's a pathway to genuine clarity and peace of mind. For many people, simply the mental freedom from constant judging would be an incredible relief in itself.
Absolutely. The Course offers this radical freedom from the exhausting burden of constant evaluation. And this concept of relinquishing judgment extends profoundly to healing, which is our next point. 3.3, healing as a choice, not a happening.
Right, and this is another area where ACIM challenges nearly all conventional thinking.
It really is a truly provocative idea that our physical condition isn't merely a random happening, but somehow a mental choice. It feels like such a radical departure from how we typically view health and illness.
The healing process is directly linked to the concept of atonement, which we touched on earlier. The sole responsibility of God's teacher, the Course says, is to accept the atonement for himself.
Atonement here means?
It's crucial to understand atonement in ACIM is distinct from traditional ideas of paying for sin. Here, it literally means at one-ment, the correction, the undoing of the belief in separation.
Becoming at one again.
Exactly. It's about correcting the fundamental error in our mind that we ever left God or our true, whole self. So when the Course says, accept the atonement for himself, it's asking us to accept our inherent wholeness and innocence right now, thereby undoing the ego's false story of guilt, attack, and fragmentation.
And when that happens?
When this is accomplished, when the individual truly accepts their own atonement, their own innocence, they become a miracle worker by definition. Not necessarily by performing external feats, but by demonstrating the power of a healed, forgiving mind.
And this idea of true inner strength brings us beautifully to our final point in this section. 3.4, defenselessness and gentleness. Our true strength, which, again, sounds so counterintuitive in a world that often equates strength with aggression or rigid self-protection or putting up a strong front.
It is counterintuitive, and that's precisely the point where the Course flips conventional wisdom right on its head. It teaches that the might of God's teachers lies in their gentleness.
Might in gentleness.
For they have understood their evil thoughts came neither from God's Son nor his Creator. This is profound. Recognizing that evil thoughts of attack, judgment, fear, are not from our true self nor from God. They're simply illusions arising from the ego's mistaken belief system. This understanding makes gentleness not a weakness at all, but a source of immense, unwavering power.
So true strength comes from letting go of the need to defend ourselves. The Course asks us to lay aside your shield, which profits nothing, and lay down the spear and sword you raised against an enemy without existence.
Such a vivid image.
These defenses aren't just physical barriers, are they? They're primarily mental and emotional. Our judgments, our grievances, our attack thoughts. They are plans you undertake to make against the truth. It's like we create enemies in our minds, in our perceptions, and then arm ourselves against them, when in reality those enemies, and therefore the need to defend, simply don't exist in truth.
It's an illusion of conflict entirely manufactured by the ego. You could think of it like a spiritual martial art, maybe like Aikido, where true strength often comes not from rigid blocking or direct attack, but from yielding, from fluid movement, allowing an opponent's energy to pass through you without resistance.
Oh. Okay.
ACIM is suggesting a kind of spiritual Aikido. Our defenses are precisely what make us feel vulnerable because they rely on the illusion of an attack being real, and they solidify our belief in separation. When we lay down our shield, our judgments, our need to be right, our protective ego walls, our grievances, we're not becoming weak. We're opening ourselves to an unwavering divine strength that doesn't need to defend because it recognizes no true threat exists.
That's what it means by defenselessness.
Exactly. And in return for giving up these illusions of defense, these toys of battle, as it calls them, the Course asks for just defenselessness. It says defenselessness is all you need to give him in return. You lay aside but what was never real to look on Christ and see his sinlessness. This means accepting the inherent defenselessness of the Holy Child within us, our innocent true self, exchanging our ego's toys of battle for that reality.
What an incredible invitation to peace. To realize that our defenses are actually what keep us feeling vulnerable and perpetuate the very conflict we dread. Laying them down must be an act of profound courage initially, but also immense relief.
Absolutely. It's the pathway to safety, not away from it.
This takes us perfectly to our final section, looking at the journey's ultimate destination, awakening to oneness.
Yes, this is really where all the Course's concepts converge and find their ultimate meaning, their ultimate payoff, you could say. Let's start with 4.1. The world ends in joy, not fear. The ultimate outcome of genuinely following the Course's curriculum, of practicing this forgiveness and relinquishing judgment, is a completely transformed perception of the world and our experience within it. The text proclaims, the world will end in joy because it is a place of sorrow. When joy has come, the purpose of the world has gone.
Now, that doesn't mean a literal end of the physical world.
No, not a prediction of a physical apocalypse or the planet's destruction. It's a mental one. It's the ego's perceived world, the world built on suffering, separation, and fear that will end. Its purpose disappears. Similarly, it promises the world will end in peace, where there once seemed to be only war, and laughter, where there once seemed to be only tears. It's a fundamental shift in perception, a complete transformation of experience.
So it's not about the physical world vanishing, but our fearful, sorrowful, conflict-ridden perception of being utterly replaced by one of joy and peace. And this radical transformation, it tells us, is brought about through
Complete forgiveness. It says, to turn hell into heaven is the function of God's teachers, for what they teach are lessons in which heaven is reflected.
wow, to turn hell into heaven.
This gives such profound meaning and purpose to our daily practice of shifting perception and choosing forgiveness, even in small moments. It's an active, ongoing process of transmuting our own experience and, by extension, contributing to the healing of the whole.
It truly does. This vision offers such profound hope that suffering and conflict are not inevitable, fixed endpoints of human existence. They're just conditions that can be completely transcended through this fundamental change in perception, this commitment to forgiveness. What does it mean for you listening to contribute to turning hell into heaven simply through the choices you make within your own mind, simply by embracing complete forgiveness in your interactions?
It transforms your role in the universe, doesn't it? From maybe feeling like a passive observer of suffering to becoming an active participant in universal healing, in the restoration of peace. It's about recognizing the incredible power of your own mind to bring about this transformation for everyone, because ultimately we are all connected. We are one.
That's a powerful call to action focused entirely on our inner world. And speaking of a return, let's explore the final point, 4.2. Our home and unity with God. Workbook Lesson 226 declares, "My home awaits me. I will hasten there." Now, this departure from the world. Again, it's not about physical death or abandoning our responsibilities here, is it?
No, definitely not. It's described as a change of mind about the purpose of the world.
A change of mind.
This is absolutely crucial to understand. The Course teaches, if I believe it, the world has a value as I see it now, so will it still remain for me. But if I see no value in the world as I behold it, nothing that I want to keep as mine or search for as a goal, it will depart from me.
So the world as we know it departs.
It means the world as we currently perceive it, with all its illusions of suffering, scarcity, separation, attack, will simply depart from our experience when we no longer invest it with meaning or purpose rooted in the ego's desires and fears. It's a mental shift, not a physical evacuation.
Okay.
It's letting go of seeking illusions in a world that can only offer illusions, and instead seeking the true spiritual reality, our true home, that lies beyond perception. When we cease to value what is unreal, the unreal simply fades from our experience, like waking from a dream.
And in this return to our true home, there's a profound unity of will. Workbook Lesson 331 asserts, "There is no conflict, for my will is yours." Our will, our true will, then, becomes perfectly aligned with God's will.
Which the Course consistently identifies as pure love.
Right. So fear is a dream and has no will that can conflict with yours. This sounds like it eliminates the very possibility of internal struggle or external conflict.
Because if our true will is indeed God's will, and God's will is only love, then only love, peace, and joy are ultimately possible. It's the ultimate resolution to all perceived opposition, all conflict.
And the Course emphasizes this unity.
It does. It states, you are so firmly joined in truth that only God is there. Between minds, between what appear to be separate individuals, there is no gap. This oneness, this perfect unity is found when we cease to join in illusions, when we stop believing in separation, attack, distinct and competing wills.
And the journey culminates.
The journey culminates in seeing the holy face of Christ in everything and realizing that God himself is where his body is. When you forgive your brother his illusions, when you see past his ego and recognize his inherent holiness, his true self, the Course says he becomes your savior from your dreams.
Wow. Your brother becomes your savior.
It's a beautiful, reciprocal process of awakening. We save each other by seeing the truth in each other.
What a beautiful and expansive resolution to the perceived separation. It means that seeing our brother's innocence, seeing the Christ in everyone, isn't just an act of charity towards them. It's actually the pathway to our own salvation, our own awakening to oneness.
Exactly.
The final destination, then, is described as, "For we have reached where all of us are one, and we are home, where you would have us be." This is a return to a state of perfect peace, beyond conflict, beyond illusion, in complete union with our Creator and all creation.
And that's a promise.
The Course points to this ultimate awakening to our inherent oneness with God and all creation, a return to a home of perfect peace and joy. For anyone contemplating this, how might embracing this sense of profound unity reshape your understanding of community, of compassion, of your ultimate place in the universe?
Well, it suggests an interconnectedness far beyond our current grasp, doesn't it? A responsibility and a joy rooted in our shared divinity. It fosters an understanding that when you truly heal your own mind through forgiveness, you are contributing to the healing of all minds. Because there is truly only one Son of God, one unified awareness experiencing itself.
It leads to an expansive, all-encompassing compassion.
Yes, one that recognizes no true other, no separate interests, no distinct suffering that isn't ultimately shared and healed by the one mind returning to itself.
Okay. So today, we've taken a truly deep dive into A Course in Miracles. We've explored its radical premise that our perception creates our reality, and that our true identity is the sinless, powerful Son of God. We've seen how ACIM offers this clear curriculum for relinquishing judgment, for embracing forgiveness as the absolute key to happiness and inner peace, and for recognizing our inherent strength in gentleness and defenselessness.
And it's so important to remember, this isn't just a philosophy to ponder, or just a set of interesting intellectual concepts. It's a profoundly practical, experiential path.
Right. The practice is key.
Absolutely. The Course reminds us repeatedly, to teach is to demonstrate. And this demonstration extends right into our daily lives through specific practices, like those 365 lessons in the workbook for students. It's about a consistent, conscious effort to align our minds with truth, with love, realizing that this is not done by words alone. It really requires active, dedicated participation, and maybe most importantly, a willingness to look at the world and ourselves with truly new eyes.
So let's leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
What if all the conflict and suffering you perceive out there in the world, and maybe within yourself, is merely a reflection of a deeply ingrained, yet ultimately false, choice you unknowingly made sometime in the past? And what if you can now, with dedicated guidance and practice, consciously unmake that choice? What deeper levels of peace, clarity, and genuine joy might truly await you if you were to explore this possibility for yourself?
It's really an invitation, isn't it?
It absolutely is, an invitation to a fundamentally different way of experiencing reality, one that begins entirely within your own mind.